Welcome to this Windows and Computer channel, and we are Friday, April 12th, 2019, and there's quite a few questions people ask all the time, and I thought a refresh of Windows and Microsoft and what's happening and all of that might be in order on this Friday. So, of course, there's always all these questions about Windows 10, and some people saying, well, it's not finished, and maybe one day they'll finish it. And it's like people have this way of thinking that is an old way of thinking from the past, where we are not there anymore. So, of course, one of the first things a lot of people constantly, oh, well, when is it going to be finished? I'm not going to install Windows 10 until they actually finish it. Well, you'll never install it if that's the way you think, because it's very simple. Windows 10 is a evolving operating system. It's always Windows 10, but it's just updated with new features and tweaks, and they update the look, and it's just the way it goes. It's finished operating system. Windows 10 is Windows 10. It's just that it gets new feature updates. That's why they call them feature updates. These updates that had new features, change or tweak the interface and so on. So basically, that's Windows 10. And a lot of people are still a little, kind of mixed up in there, thinking that, well, I'm going to wait till Windows 11. Well, I got news for you. Windows 11 ain't a thing, and it's not going to happen. Don't, believe those videos on YouTube everywhere where people say, well, Windows 11 is coming. No, they are fake, and they're trying to just get views by posting fake videos. So Windows 10 is Windows 10. There's no Windows 11. That's to say that Microsoft changes its minds from time to time, quite regularly. So it doesn't mean that Windows 11 could never exist. But Microsoft does not have a plan for any Windows 11. Windows 10 is and still is for Microsoft the last operating system that will be simply updated regularly. And that's what we are and where we are now. Now, this year, 2019, believe it or not, it's really time really flies. It's going to be 4 years in July that Windows 10 exists. 4 years in where we had tons of feature updates and all sorts of things happening. For those that are still asking about, they just don't understand exactly what the Windows Update is all about, or the changes. Once again, the changes in Windows Update are simply starting with the May 2019 update, meaning that the feature updates, those two big updates every year. Well, starting now, you won't have to install it. You'll be asked, you'll be, to download it and all, but it will be a separate download and a separate section in Windows Update from the regular cumulative updates, which is, I think, a very good decision on Microsoft's part, giving you the possibility and opportunity to just pass on an update and say, no, I don't want it, I'll wait. And it's quite all right. I mean, let's face it, if we look at the real world with real people using Windows, they don't care about feature updates. They don't use the new features. Only tech enthusiasts and Windows fans are the people that's like, oh, this is so cool and this is that. And one of the features, just a great example, that is a useful feature and that I probably should use. The Windows 10 timeline feature, which is very nice, going back in time and seeing what you did, 2 weeks from now, and clicking on one of those tiles and you're back at what you were doing. The idea is kind of interesting, and it's possibly useful. I've used it maybe the first couple of weeks that it was introduced. I don't use it. I actually even forgot at some point that it's there until something that I read was talking about the timeline, and I was like, oh man, yeah, that's a feature that exists. So, it shows you that, okay, there are some interesting features. There are things they're tweaking. They're trying to, introduce features that might make it easier for us to do things. That said, at the same time, there are some features that were introduced that I do use. the snip and sketch feature I like. I use it to, do screenshots and take a shot or a screenshot of just one window or, a message. Or I like it. I like the way that it's actually done and the way that it's implemented and that you can actually take that picture and do some modifications and so on. So there are things that I use. There are things that I don't use. There are things that I used before. For example, I used Cortana a lot the first maybe year and a half it was there. I don't use Cortana anymore. Actually, I don't remember the last time I asked Cortana something intentionally. And it might have to do with the fact that I've got a Google Home Mini here and I use that for my assistant. And of course, we're talking about the future of Windows. There are different flavors of Windows that were talked about and some that we don't hear about anymore. So Windows 10, of course, the regular Home or Enterprise or Pro versions are there. But, over time we had some stuff. There's Windows 10 S that we don't hear anymore about. That's basically something pretty much of the past. Windows 10 S not really being something pushed anymore. One that is interesting that's coming, and one advantage or one thing that happened this week is showing that might be something to look at. Windows 10 on ARM. We learned that Mozilla has actually completed its Firefox browser for Windows 10 on ARM. Kind of interesting. This is showing us that, maybe Windows 10 on ARM could be an interesting thing on low-powered ARM processor devices. I think this might be where things are actually going, and we're wondering because now we have not only the x86 or x64 platforms with Intel and AMD chips, but there's a new player of pretty good and very high-powered CPUs, and it's ARM. ARM CPUs are getting to a point where they're so powerful that Windows 10 can run on that, but it's a different Windows 10. Windows 10 on ARM isn't compatible with Windows 10 on a regular Intel PC. That's always been the problem. I think everywhere where you make a difference where something doesn't work, example Windows 10 S, well, okay, if you have Windows 10 S, the idea behind it is not bad, but the problem is you can't get Google Chrome, and it's 65% of everybody using that. So you're already shooting Windows 10 S at the heart. Like, oh, I got Windows 10 S, but I can't get Chrome. Well, I don't want to have S. I just want to have Windows 10. So, ARM is going to be the same thing unless everybody jumps and makes a program or software, Google Chrome, for example, for ARM. That's kind of interesting. Where will it be and will it catch on? I don't know. It is almost like when there was Windows 8. There were two flavors of Windows 8, and some didn't understand that the real Windows 8, works with everything, where the other type of Windows didn't. And of course, for the future, well, Windows 10 is moving on. We're testing out 20H1 on the fast ring. That's the first version for next year. We know 19H2 is going to happen later this year. But there are basic changes at Microsoft that also change the future of Windows. The Windows team isn't its own thing anymore. It's now in a different place in Microsoft, kind of letting us know that, Windows isn't important enough anymore for Microsoft to be its own. It's to be on its own. It now is within another division, and that's where they're looking at Windows 10, and that division probably has a different way of viewing Windows. So Windows is here to stay for a long time, but we're in a world of transformation right now. So this is kind of interesting to see what's going to happen. And of course, all eyes are on the May 2019 update. Lots of problems in the past, and a couple of at least 3 or 4 feature updates didn't go right when they were released. That's also a big problem. Now they are changing. The fact that they're testing the May 2019 update for a month in release preview, I think it shows how serious they are about having these feature updates really go well. And the fact that now you don't have to install them if you don't want them. Also, if somebody says, oh, that feature update's bad, everybody's going to jump over it and nobody's going to install it. So that's, interesting changes ahead. And it's going to be interesting to see how many people stay at a specific version and refuse the future update until the 18-month is over, when that feature update absolutely needs to be upgraded suddenly. Lots of changes coming, and lots of things that are going to be interesting for the future. And there's that Edge Chromium browser now, Edge being completely rewritten with the core of Chromium. Well, that changed the number of people using Edge. Personally, I don't think so. But I think they kind of embrace and understand that, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Maybe that's what Microsoft is thinking, actually. So there's a lot of changes coming, and it's going to be interesting to see how this year continues in 2019 and next year, 2020, big year, that famous year that's going to be there, where Windows 7 is going to be a thing of the past. That is also something to look at and see what exactly will happen. What will Windows look like in 2020? How many people will switch from Windows 7 to Windows 10, or prefer maybe changing technologies and thinking, okay, from now on, how do I use technology? And more and more people are using their phones to do almost everything. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that left Windows for a lot of reasons, not just because sometimes there's problems, but also because their PC died and they thought, well, I do this, Facebook and email and text messaging. Why do I need a PC? I don't anymore. And I have a lot of people around me that actually do not have a computer. We're in this changing evolution of time where the smartphone is that portable little computer in your pocket, and that's what a lot of people use. So it's going to be nice to see what's coming up. What's your opinion of the future with Windows and technology in general? Please, nice comments, no F words, polite comments. I will remove any comment that is not deemed acceptable. So explain in your own words what you think and what's going to be the future. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.